Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video I'm going to talk about the difference between self-serving and being selfish. Okay? Now, first of all, I'm going to start off with the fact that being self-serving is charging your energy up. Okay? It's about maintaining your energy as well. Okay? Very important. And the more and more I'm seeing now with clearings and doing energy work with many people here at Truly Holistic is that we do the clearings, right, in the session, and that's the easy part, right? We find out where an area, a client may have a regular problem in, okay, an illness, a condition, or an avenue of life where they have bad manifestation. They're not getting the things they want in life, and instead they're getting the things they don't require, and it's creating a problem for them. Is because that area goes into a low vibration, okay? That part of their being goes into a low vibration of frequency. And what I've come to find is we can find out that specific area, we can do the clearings to then increase the density or plane of existence of that area, which puts it into a higher density, like the fifth density, instead of it being in the first, second, or third density. And all of a sudden, the client's feeling a lot better just within minutes. Okay, at the end of the session, they're feeling completely different than they were at the start of the session. Now, and then quite often I'll see mixed results in regards to if that's holding that energy. Okay, they may get that everlasting result after that session for certain people, and for some people it'll be good for a few days, and then all of a sudden they'll notice that all of a sudden those same triggers are happening again, whether that's the negative manifestation or the symptoms of that condition coming back. And that got me scratching my head, and this is something I've been looking for a long time. How do we give everlasting results? Okay, obviously one, we need to go right to the core of the problem, and that's what this energy healing is all about. True quantum healing here at Truly Holistic is we go to the root of the problem, the cause of the problem, not only the symptoms. And if your problem's very chronic, we may have to do a number of sessions to get to there. Okay, we have to go right down the rabbit hole, so to speak. For some people, they'll get a result in a session and they're all good. So it's going to be different for everybody. But what I've come to find more consistent in regards to what I'm seeing now is that the client comes to the session, we do the clearings. As I say, that's the easy part, finding where the problem is, getting those areas of that person's being or their body into that higher density out of the lower densities, which is a plane of existence which is kind of a safe haven, and therefore limits or prevents infections being manifested, not being caught by people but by being manifested, getting entity trouble, negative energies. You put yourself into a place where they can no longer touch you. Now, after that session, we all need to go back to reality, right? Okay, the real world. And whether that's you being a mother or father, you going back to your job, okay, and all these aspects of life. And if those aspects of life is going to a job that you don't really enjoy, or it's something that's not creative or not, you don't have any passion about, if it's an avenue of life that you're not being sustained by it, then that's just naturally going to lower your vibration, and especially your perspective or perception and your attitude towards that is then going to lower your vibration. All of a sudden you were in the fifth density, all of a sudden you drop back down to that first and second density, and lo and behold, those same symptoms come back. Okay, so it's not necessarily clearing's not working, they are working. It's not necessarily an entity coming back to you and just pulling you back down. What's pulling you back down is reality, okay, and the reality that you are creating with your own intent. Okay, it's not an experience then shaping you; it's you shaping the experience. Okay, you use your intent, your attitude, and those sorts of things to then create and shape the life that you want. Okay, so we need to get to that place by being self-serving. We need to go inwards to create that, because we are the creator of our reality in front of us. So it's not about going externally, and therefore getting the results here, we need to go inwards to then get the results externally. Okay, so this whole thing about going inwards, serving self first, is then going to create a manifestation to occur around you, and in an indirect way, then you affect everything around you. Okay. Now, being selfish is a view from a plane of existence in that 1D, 2D, 3D. You know, it's low vibrational, being selfish. You know, the idea of being selfish, because people think that, hey, working on yourself is being selfish because it's only going to affect you. But they're wrong in that. And I don't like saying they're wrong because, as I say, everything's experience and we need to learn from that. But it is an internal, when you work on yourself internally, then that will then affect externally. It's not the other way around. So the whole thing about idea of being selfish lowers vibration, self-serving increases vibration. It maintains your vibration, keeps your vibration high, and we've just talked about that in regards to that. So let's talk a bit more about it. So when we put that work in and go inwards, as I say, we indirectly then affect others around us. Okay, and that's what we're here. That's what Ascension's all about, is us, while we're here, living out this reality through our own eyes, this experience of being a human. Okay, our eyes are locked into the 3D, okay, but we need to go beyond that to kind of jump over the wall to find out more about ourselves, okay, and that's increasing our consciousness. And we only find that out by going inwards and finding out who we are, and, you know, those big questions. Why are we here? Who am I really? Not going by the collective telling you what life is and how you should live it. Again, this is an individual experience that you need to go through, and therefore you need to grow and evolve it. And therefore that's where the word ascension comes from, in regards to an individual, not a collective. You are naturally a frequency emitter. So therefore, when you do that work inwards, then you emit that same frequency out. Okay? The same thing with using your own intent. The intent, the thought process is then extended through an intent, whether that's body language, whether that's verbal communication, a number of ways. That then has an effect on your external environment, because you create and shape that reality, and that includes other people around you. So, you know, we brag on about Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, all these things which are sources of frequency that is not compatible with us, that lowers our vibration. But the biggest emitter out of everything is ourselves, and the way we use our intent, very much the same way. And there's not enough awareness or consciousness of that, and I'm seeing that more and more in regards to the effect of that with doing sessions and energy work for people. The people I find a lot of the time that are able to hold themselves into a high vibration and therefore get sustained success is having that awareness and consciousness of how they use their intent, their own power, so to speak. And I've been practicing that, this myself. I'm not here as an authority and people to bow down to what I'm saying here. I want you to experiment with this, using your intent in a positive way and seeing what that then manifests into your life as an experiment. We're all students in regards to this, and that's why I'm sharing this information with you. Okay, so if we, in regards to self-serving, if we don't go inwards and we go externally out, and there's a lot of great causes and a lot of people that do great things for a lot of people, and awesome, and it's great, and those people can sustain that if they can also still do that inward work. Because if you help so many other people, you have to be careful of not giving too much of your own energy, because if you give all your energy away, then you become low vibrational, and that affects your thought process, that affects your intent, and then that will then have an effect on the collective as well, or all the people you're trying to help. And that maybe, as a mother or father, then rub on your children as well. And quite often, you'll hear with especially, with mothers and fathers, especially mothers, and that maternal bond with their children is that, my kids are everything. And I understand that being a parent myself, but we also must understand that we also need to put work into ourselves individually, and that also comes in regards to relationships. When you have a relationship with someone else, is okay, you have that bond or connection with each other, same with as a mother or father with your children, but you've still got to live out an individual experience, because that's what we're here to do. Even though we're in a relationship, even though we're a mother or father to children, have a family. And you'll notice that inner work, okay, is not being selfish, because that will have an effect on your external environment, which is your children, your kids, your loved one, your partner, your husband, your wife, and that will have an effect on them if you go inwards, because you are then naturally emitting that frequency. By becoming a better person and knowing more about yourself, your true self, then that will have a greater effect on everyone around you as well. So as I say, we're not living out a collective experience, yeah? And we hear this quite a lot in regards to, we need to collectively be one. And there are a heck of a lot of people, humans living on this planet within this reality, and there's a lot of suffering out there, okay? And there's no better example of evidence to show that we are living an individual experience, not a collective, is because we all live out everything that we foresee through our own eyes. I can't see through someone else's eyes. I only see through mine. Okay, and you may have 10 people looking in the same room or looking at the same thing, but they'll all have a slightly different, they may have a common theme of what they're seeing, but they'll all express it in a different way or see it in a slightly different way. Okay, and that's their perception of what's happening. Okay, and therefore no one will fully agree on the same thing, because they all have a slightly different perception on it. And quite often that has created conflict within this reality. We live in a duality reality, you see, because when our eyes are controlled by 3D reality, and they're locked into that, that's right in the middle of the spectrum of fear and love. And that therefore our reality is based on a duality, right? We see man, woman. We see one country to another country, one language to another language. We see two eyes, two arms, two legs. Everything's a duality. And when we look at duality, we see opposites. And then when you have opposites, then there's conflict or friction between those opposites. And we see the same thing with everybody, with their perception. There's always going to be a slightly different perception, and that doesn't mean one person's right, one person's wrong in regards to a duality. It just means that they are living out their own truth, and you have to find out your own truth. And that's why by going inwards, okay, and self-serving is then going to affect the collective in a indirect way, instead of focusing on the collective first, which then creates this whole friction, this conflict, because we are living out, we're being locked into a reality, especially our eyes, and what our eyes perceive is a duality, okay? We can take the rest of our body and our consciousness above that 3D into 4D, 5D, and so on. But we are seeing reality through our own eyes, okay? And we can shape that reality, obviously, with our own intent and so on. But my reality, what I'm seeing right in front of myself, is through my own eyes. You can't see through my own eyes. I can't see through your eyes. So we are living an individual experience. So I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and I hope I've explained the difference between self-serving and being selfish. Selfish is just a very low vibrational or low plane of existence, looking at doing work upon yourself, okay? When we go into those higher planes of existence, we understand, and to access those higher planes of existence, we need to do that inner work. We need to do that self-serving work. That will then affect in an indirect way our children, our partner, all the people around us, our environment. And that allows you to create the reality that you've always been able to do through your own intent, which is your own power. So we need to embrace that, and we need to see it, that we need to work here. It's just like the analogy, to love someone else, you need to love yourself first, okay? Doing that inner work, okay? So anyway, if you want to post any comments below, I'll be happy to answer them for you. If you'd like to book an appointment, go to trulyholistic.net. And until I see you next time, have the best day ever.